Hello, hello everyone. Welcome to one more webinar of WND Group. Vasco, do you think we need to wait a little bit or?
No, I think we can start.
Okay.
So we have quite a number of entities already, so we can start.
Okay, so thank you. My name is Nicolas Jaramillo, and I am part of the WND Group team. Today, I will be the moderator of this webinar, and it's a pleasure for us to have your presence. In this webinar, we will present the new Data Advanced Callback Service. Please welcome to Vasco Barreiros, Project Manager of WND Group, who will share with us how the new Data Advanced Callback Service will help the client to migrate their callbacks using Network MetaData to the new Sigfox service. We will have a first part of 45 minutes to present the topic and a second one to answer questions of 15 minutes. Please write your questions in the chat box or raise your hand to open the microphone. If your question was not answered at the end, please write to your local ecosystem manager to talk about a specific doubt or topic. This webinar will be recorded and shared with all of you attenders that we have right now in our webinar. And I think no more information. Okay, Vasco, let's start with our webinar.
Sure. Hi, everyone, and good afternoon and good morning, depending on where you are exactly. So I'll try to speak as slow as possible, but of course, as Nicholas said, at the end, there is a period of questions and answers. And to make yourself at ease, if you have difficulties with the English language, just ask directly in Spanish or ask directly in Portuguese, and I'll be able to answer in your own language. So let's move forward. Let me go back into the presentation and try to go directly into the subject. I'm sure that all of you that have a technical background and you have been going into the Sigfox backend and you have configured the callbacks for your devices. I'm sure you've seen this warning. This warning is everywhere. And as of the 1st of June of 2019, which is not that far away, Sigfox is going to disable the following features from the callback. So you've seen this warning. And some of you are concerned that some of your callbacks are no longer going to function, but that's not exactly true because there is a new functionality that Sigfox is introducing that will allow you to keep on receiving the data, but there is something you need to do, and that's why we're going to try to explain what you need to do. So the Sigfox will still provide information, but it's going to go through the Data Advanced Callback. Okay, it will be available for the existing orders upon WND request to Sigfox, and all of you on this webinar have already this turned on. So everyone that's been using RSSI and base station ID on your callbacks, this has been turned on by default to all of you that have been using until up to this week. So it's already on, and you already can go into each one of your device types and configure the new service. Why is Sigfox doing this? Sigfox Atlas is a geolocation service provided by Sigfox, which gives the possibility to obtain geolocation for any Sigfox device. And Sigfox is trying to improve the service to all of you in order also to cope with the huge number of devices that we expect to have from all of you, and in order to nothing to be degraded. Doesn't mean that this is not work today. Today works perfectly well, but we want to give you a better service. And in order to do this, that's why the migration is going to happen. Now let's go a little bit more into the technical aspects of each one of those things that are going to be available. So the new Data Advanced Callback is going to have base station ID. So the base station ID is still going to be available, and it's a string. ND rep is the number of repetitions, and this will be also available. The single to noise ratio, which is a float, is still going to be available. RSSI latitude of the device, the longitude of the device, the radius, which is the radius of the limited number of meters define the zone where the device is located, the source of the type of geolocation, and the status. So all this is available, and this is detailed on the backend callback documentation under service data advanced. So if you go to the backend callback documentation and under service data advanced, you should be able to find all this pretty well explained. The variables are going to be separated in two different types of arrays, or two arrays. One of the arrays is the duplicates, and that's the main one that we are talking here at this moment, because if up to today you had a callback in any one of your device types, and on this callback you had the option to have duplicates, and then you also had configured on the body of the callback the base station ID and the RSSI. Now you have to stop using that, and you have to configure a new service callback called data advance. And as of today, actually of yesterday and the day before yesterday, it's already available. You're going to find a new variable called duplicates, and so if you put that on the body of your callback, you're going to get an array with the base station ID, the number of repetitions that the message was received on the base station, the signal noise ratio, and the RSSI. It's a JSON structure, typical one, and you have it here on the screen. And I'll show you one of the last slides will give you a better idea as well. So if you have Atlas active, and this might not be in conjunction with the duplicates. You might have duplicates in Atlas, or you might have only Atlas, or you might have only duplicates. But if you have Atlas, then you're going to also get the computer location, and the computer location is the latitude of the device received and determined by Atlas services, the longitude, the radius, which is the circle where your device might be, the type of source, and the status. And this is, as you can see here on the screen. So if you have Atlas active, the computer location will be there. And so if you have now this is already available for you, and this has been turned on by WND to all your device types, to all your contracts. You're going to have this there as well, and then you can configure this on the body of your callback. So as you can see, it's a service. It's called data advance, and additional body variables are, one of them is duplicates, and the other one is computer location. The computer location will be available if you have Atlas. So if you don't have Atlas, you're going to have duplicates. And this is, as I said, available as of this week. So you might say, I haven't seen it yet. But see, now if you go to your device types, and in the past you have been using RSSI and base station ID, now this is going to be available on every single of your device types, and you should be able to add this service and data advance on the callbacks, okay? Moving forward, let me show you. So this is a typical callback that you should have now, and where you're getting, you can see here on the screen, you were getting the sequence number, the duplicates, data, RSSI, signal to noise ratio, the station ID. This is what you should have now. This is what most of your device types would look like now, so if you've been using this data. And this will all be stopped on the 1st of June. Not exactly all, but the variables that it says here will be gone, like the station, signal to noise ratio, all this will be null. So if you don't do anything on your endpoint, this information will become null. So you won't be receiving it any longer after the 1st of June. But now, until the 1st of June, it's still a few weeks to get there. This is already available, and it's called the service, the data advance. And now you can configure this, and you're going to get an array like this, for example, for the base station ID and the duplicates. You're going to get an array with the base station ID, the RSSI, and the signal noise ratio. So this is already available. You can go back to the backend, to each one of your device types, and configure the callback and configure the data advance, and it should be completely straightforward. Okay. On the cases that you have Atlas and you have been using the geolocation service, this is also going to be discontinued, and you have to move this service geolocation into the service data advance, and of course add the computed location into the data body. And this also should be available, the computed location at least, because you got Atlas. This should already be by default there, but you need to migrate from this service to this service until the end of this month. All right. Maybe I went quite fast. I always can go back to some of the slides, and maybe now Nicholas can take the floor, and then you guys are going to raise your hands. And of course, don't be shy to ask your question in Spanish. Just please, if you do it in Spanish, ask it slowly. Don't speak very fast. Otherwise, I'm not going to understand you. In Portuguese, no worries. You can do it directly. And of course, anybody in English, most welcome also to make your questions.
Okay, we have right now one question from Edison Arteaga is, how would the change for the local callback, would it be callback? And no, sorry, how would the change for the local callback be? Would it be to another URL or the same?
Regarding Loca, which is a device, regarding Loca, Loca is taking care of this. They are creating the new endpoint. So yes, it's going to be to a new endpoint. It's going to have a specific body, and Loca is taking care of that, and they will be sending this information over to each one of you, or they're going to be doing it via API, which in bulk they'll update all the local device types will be updated accordingly with this script. So they're going to send the script into it by API, or they're going to send you the documentation in PDF in order for you to change each one of them. Any other questions, please?
Another question. El direccionamiento de la información sería a la misma URL.
Ese depende, porque cada uno de vosotros tiene un URL específico y depende de la implementación, depende de la arquitectura del sistema y depende para dónde debe ir. En mi opinión, tiene que ser un nuevo URL, porque tiene que ser un nuevo endpoint, o puedes modificar lo existente. Es con vosotros.
Other question. I'm currently using the data BIDIR callback type, receiving the RSSI signal from my device and returning some info for it. Is the data advanced callback type compatible to BIDIR or BIDIR?
Bidirectional. No, it's if you have the bidirectional, you're gonna have the callback with bidirectional as you originally have, and on that one you take care of it as you're doing it now. But if you need RSSI, then you need to create a new service callback, and you should send it to the same endpoint or a different endpoint. It's up to you. But the bidirectional, it's one thing, and so you need to keep the bidirectional on the existing callback that you have now, because, and let me explain, the data advanced service callback has a delay of 30 seconds, which is not compatible with uplink downlink at the same time. So it's you should create two.
Other questions? What are the big changes in the Sigfox ecosystem for Latin America?
I don't think if I understood the question.
Repeat it. what are the big changes in the Sigfox ecosystem for Latin America?
Regarding what we are discussing here today, there is no big change. This is only a change on the callback structure and how the callbacks are implemented. If you are using RSSI and base station ID, or if you're using the geolocation from Atlas. So this is only a migration of how the callback is done.
Another question. Other parameter of the callback for intense device ID remains the same in the callback?
Yes. Yeah, the device ID, the parameter device ID remains the same. So if I go here, you still get here, so you still get the device. So this is the device ID, you put it on the body and you're gonna get it back. Or here. So here you're using, this is the device ID and how it is today. So if you migrate this callback to a service callback, you still get the device ID as you were getting it before.
No more questions? Please take an advantage of this space to
take advantage and please see if you have any questions moving forward during this few weeks, or if you don't see this on your backend when you try to configure, when you go to service data advanced and you don't see this word duplicates here, talk to your local guys on each one of your countries.
Okay, another question. I have seen some notifications in the Sigfox backend about the API or API version legacy V1 and request to migrate to V2. Is the data advanced callback a part of the API V2?
Yes, but they're not correlated. So the migration from API V1 to API V2 and this what we are talking today is two different things. They are correlated in one way, but they don't depend on each other because the sunset of the API V2 is October of this year, and the sunset of the RSSI, the base station ID, and the geolocation service is the end of this month, so 2 weeks from now.
Vasco, can you explain please why Sigfox is doing this change?
Is I tried to explain here on this slide. And the change is is motivated by the need to enable a better performance and for the Atlas service and for the Atlas Wi-Fi. So this is new services that Sigfox is going to introduce moving forward, and this is in order to give all our clients other possibilities to get geolocation from each one of your devices. So this is to give new services and improve the existing ones.
We have another question.
All right, so from what I've understood, the API V1 will be stopped, like the support for this version will be stopped in October of this year. But since the API V2 is still not like completely stable, I would like to know if everything that you presented us will change, like the structure of the API of what you just presented will change in the time, or we can already like start developing with this structure, with this data structure in the callbacks.
Good, a very good question, and thank you very much for asking it. No, it will not change. It's not, as I said, they are not correlated. So you can go ahead, you can start coding, and please do as fast as you can. Try to code this, try to change it, because you still have 2 weeks to play with it before the change goes into effect. So you can start putting the body, test the new endpoint, receive the data on your server. And actually now you have the possibility to receive both at the same time. So take advantage of this 2 weeks, since you can receive two at the same time, compare the two and adapt your code in order to be effective, so that your clients will not be affected. And thank you very much for asking, because it was a very good question.
Another question. So is this data advanced callback going to be disabled at API v1's sunset?
No, because as I said, the V1, V2 APIs is not related directly with this information.
At the moment, no more questions.
Okay, and gentlemen, so if you're listening and you have work to do, as I said, please take this 2 weeks commonly to change your callbacks so that your devices are not going to be affected. Because if you in fact are using RSSI and base station ID, and some of you are using this information to do triangulation in order to calculate latitude and longitude of your devices, take your time to do it because you still have a time, and this is not complicated to change. Is the body structure? You just have to recode a little bit and create the new endpoint on your server in order to receive this information, because the structure changes a little bit. And actually, in all our opinion, from the technical point of view, it makes more sense this way, and it's more structured, so it's better for the future.
Another question. Hi, Vasco. Do you know if we will be possible to do math conversation or operations in JSON body? I'm talking about Sigfox callbacks.
I would say I don't know. We have to that answer. I don't know. I would have to get back to you.
Another one. New devices a channel can buy, but will have these changes from the factory.
This is not related to devices. It has nothing to do with hardware. So all this is just software, and it's not device related. So this is for only on the back end. And so as you see, there's a device, and the device talks to the Sigfox backend, which in turn is going to talk to your servers. And this is only on that path, nothing to do with hardware. So if anyone has any more questions, just know I think the slides will be available, and the recording will be available, so you can review it at your own pace. And you can go back to the slides and look at exactly what's going to be changing, and what's available and what's not available. And the main thing is nothing is going to be gone. It's going to get better, and it's going to be with a better structure. So nothing you are using today is going to stop working. You just need to change a little bit of your code in order to make it better, and the structure is going to make a lot more sense to you, the way it's going to come back from the callback. From a technical perspective, this is improving, and it's on the correct path.
Please remind that this webinar will be recorded and available for later viewing. No more questions right now. So Vasco, okay, another one. Device with own platform that has callback like Sensit, this callback will be with changes?
If I don't think the Sensit is not using this. The Sensit has its own callbacks, and it will not be affected unless you have configured your own callback with geolocation, and since the geolocation is going to stop being used, and you have to change it to the data advance as well, then you need to change from service geolocation to service data advance and use the computer location. But since it as a device and as a service is not using base station ID and RSSI to do anything, as far as I understand.
Okay, is until now with the duplicate option, we have one callback per base station base station receiving the message. With this change, we will have just one callback, right?
Yes, Guillaume, exactly. And thank you also for asking. As you can see here on this right-hand side of the screen, this is a device. This device here sent at one time in one single message, in one single callback. It sends all this. So it sends an array with each base station ID, the number of repetitions, the RSSI level at that base station in the signal noise level, then another one, and so forth. So if you have 100 base stations, you're going to get 100 elements in the array, 100 with a sub-arrays of base station ID, noise, and the rep, which is the repetitions, RSI, and the single noise ratio. Yes, before this, which was a little bit handicapped to improve for millions or trillions of devices, each device would be sending a webhook into your server. Now it's only one with the whole information with a 30 seconds delay. And thank you for asking, because that was a very good question.
Do you want Vasco to say something?
No, thank you very much. I just want to thank you very much for everyone attending the call. We have a very large number of participants, so thank you very much for being here. And then please, see if you have any questions, don't be shy to ask, and come back to, and then see the recording of the webinar. And please go ahead and do what you need to do in order to change your callbacks. And of course, WND will be all the time here to support you with this change. So all this information is on the backend callback documentation under. So if you go to the callback documentation on Sigfox webpage, you go into service and data advanced, and all this information, it's there.
Another question is right here.
All right, so I was wondering, we talk about mainly about the backend callbacks API, but will there be any change in the other part of the API, like creation of groups and device type and stuff like that?
No, as far as I understand, no. This one, I'm only focusing on this one. Regarding all that, Sigfox probably will fill you in, but that's more related with back-end new versions and all that documentation. If changes are going to happen, it will be available before any change. Gracias a todos y mucho gusto en estar en este webinar con vosotros. Gracias y hasta luego.
Okay, thank you very much, Vasco, for sharing this session with us. Also, I appreciate your time, and we hope it had been a very interesting to you. We will have different webinars every month, and we extend the invitation for you to check the schedule and register through our webinar, www.wndgroup.io/webinars. And during the next days, you will receive in your emails all the information and the recording of this webinar. Stay tuned and follow us on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. Thank you very much, and bye-bye.
Bye, everyone. Thank you very much for attending. Bye-bye.